could die of coronavirus, but the modeling assumes full social distancing until the end of May, not May 1st. If you ease up with these guidelines now, how many more Americans do you think are going to die?
Easing up. The states that are opening are not states which will have a problem with that.
The reason they don't have a problem now is because of social distancing.
But the reason also is they're different kinds of states. They have lots of room. They have fewer people and they have lots of room.
The Treasury Department is now sending out those $1,200 stimulus checks to Americans who qualify for them. The websites of several major banks crashed today because people were so eager to see if the money had landed in their accounts. For those who are getting a physical check in the mail, in an unprecedented move, the Treasury Department has printed President Trump's name on those checks. Nora.
Damn.
Thank you, Ben.
That's down there like Trump got his own money.
Hell no. Director and White House Coronavirus Task Force member, Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Now, you
Dr.
see
Fauci,
these
thank you
people
so
that
much for
talking all
joining
this
us.
shit, but they don't got no masks on.
You said we're not yet there in terms of the key steps that we have to have in place to
gloves on
reopen
either,
the
y'all.
economy. If you had a magic wand, what would we need?
Well, I think it's going to be different for different parts of the country. The success or failure of that rolling reentry program, as I call it, would be the capability of being able to test, identify, isolate, get someone who's infected out of circulation, and do a degree of contact tracing. The absolute thing that you would need is to be able to respond and contain whatever rebound you get so that you don't wind up in a situation where you have another escalation.
Do you envision then, in the future, in terms of reopening the economy, that there'll be temperature checks at businesses, that there'll be fewer tables at restaurants? What will that new normal look like?
I mean, I absolutely would not be surprised if we did see in certain places that someone would take one of those very quick temperature checks, put in front of your forehead, and wind up determining if you're febrile or not, and keeping you out of whatever location you want to go into. Also, more physical separation. I think that's feasible.
So let me ask you about that vaccine, since you are coordinating that at the National Institutes of Health. How are these human trials going? Are we ahead of schedule? What's the data that you see?
Well, again, it's premature to talk about data, except to say that there have been no glitches. I said a couple of months ago, I think about a month and a half ago, that it would be about a year to a year and a half. It is possible to shave a couple of months off that, but you don't want to overpromise. We'll just have to see how it goes.
Because they already sitting on the shit.
Well, my hope is that we get through this acute challenge that we're in now, that we will be prepared if we do get a resurgence in the next season, that we'll be able to keep it under very good contained control without going through the very difficult situation that we've been facing over the last several weeks. And that by the time we get to the point where we have a vaccine, we can put coronavirus behind us and make sure that we're well prepared for the next emerging infection challenge.
Thank you, Dr.
But
Fauci.
if you notice, he never really did answer the question when it come down to this new normal shit.
That $350 billion fund to help small businesses and its workers get through the shutdown. The Paycheck Protection Program could run out of money as early as tonight, and Congress can't agree on how to send more. In our Financial Fallout series, Chris Van Cleve reports on the program's popularity and problems.